Good morning everyone. This is about landmarks in postmodernism. Continuation on postmodernism. We are discussing the title Landmarks in Postmodernism, Habermas, Lyotard and Baudrillard. But the two of the theorists we have already finished of discussion. Today I am going to deal with the Baudrillard's main concepts of Baudrillard. Okay, so let me read it for you. Another major theorist of postmodernism is the contemporary French writer Jean Baudrillard, whose book Simulations. Note down the term Simulations, and again you can see the details regarding its translation because it's a French writing and we need it in English for the reach of the concept. It's better for us to have it in English, so there is a translation, details are there. Like Baudrillard is associated with what is usually known as the laws of the real. The laws of the real. Now, after structuralist concept of sign representing a particular reality, in the postmodern situation, postmodern condition or the postmodern era, in general, you can see the sign is losing its connection with the reality. So that he gives this phrase, this idea of the laws of the real, which is the view that in contemporary life, the pervasive influence of images from film, TV and advertising has led to a loss of the distinction between real and imagined. Loss of the distinction between real and imagined. Think about that. You see an advertisement. Sometimes it is written under as per the protocol or some purpose of formality's sake. You have it written in a very small letter like creative visualization, or sometimes like it is practiced under the surveillance of elders. But the kids or the people in general who are watching the advertisements are most often unable to distinguish between what is reality, what is possible, what is impossible, because that is the impact of such visual representation on the viewers, the audience in general. Okay, and that itself is the reason why we are fascinated and we are going for purchasing the items. That is, once they represent these things, once they represent the reality, once they represent some, show some of the products through their advertisements or some other promotions, we all fall prey to that and we go for purchasing the same. This is the reason. The reason is this: we are having this, we are in the situation of losing connection with the reality. It's contemporary life, the pervasive influence of images from TV. It's an influence that is highly pervasive. TV and the advertising has led to a loss of the distinction between real and imagined. Not just little children, but everyone falls prey to this, because you don't even understand, or you lost the capability to understand that they represent something. It doesn't have much connection with the reality. The product is not going to be that worthy as it is represented, but we all run behind that even after this. So, loss of the distinction between real and imagined, reality and illusion, surface and depth. Surface and depth. The depth is something that is immediately connected with the reality as far as these binaries are concerned. Reality and illusion. Reality, you are connecting, you are still having connection with what is existing, what is possible, what is logical, but what about illusion? Still you are behind these advertisements because of the loss of the real. This is a postmodern time where globalization has its own impact. multinational companies, their creative visualization, visual representations, everything is influencing us like anything. So Baudrillard wants to give us the idea, or wants to promote the idea of the loss of the real, at least to make us aware of what is happening in the postmodern era with the intellectual sector. Even the intellectual people fall prey to this. The result is a culture of hyper-reality in which distinction between these are eroded. Distinction between reality and illusion, or real or imagined, real and imagined, all these are eroded. The distinction is eroded. It's erased. We find it very difficult to distinguish reality from imagination. Then his propositions and suggestions, ideas are worked out in his essay Simulacra and Simulations. Please see these terms, simulacra and simulations, reprinted in abridged form in Brooker 1992. Those are not really important, but you should note down the term, that name of the book or the essay. Book is there, the concept of loss of the real is important, and this essay also is very important. He begins by evoking a past era of fullness when a sign was a surface indication of an underlying depth or reality. That's what I mentioned earlier. With a sign, signifier signified, with a structuralist concept. Even then, sign used to represent something. When you draw a tree, image of a tree, when I told you to draw the image of a tree, 3 or 4 students drew the same kind, or at least the same mode of trees. Those signs at least made or gave us the sense that, yeah, this is a tree that is usually seen in the yard. We have number of other trees, number of other varieties, but still it could represent a basic reality about tree, as what we know already. That is the past era of fullness. It's highlighted in red because that is not there in the postmodern time. It is not something you can connect with the postmodernism. When a sign was a surface indication of an underlying depth or reality. Not now. An outward sign of inward grace, to cite the words of the Roman Catholic Catechism. That is, they in the past, even in religion, they sticked on to something that could represent without having any complication or without having any illusionary basis. Think about cross representing Christianity. So if it stays as the sign with a minimum basic authenticity, it is fine for the people who belong to that religion or the believers in that religion. But no longer these signs have that kind of a credibility. That's what Baudrillard talks about the postmodern era, where every sign is losing its authenticity. Anything can be everything. Everything can be anything. Okay. And here, but what he asks, if a sign is not an index of an underlying reality, but merely of other signs, just think about that. It's possible. So as far as the believers in that religion is concerned, cross is a very good symbol. Though it is representing the crucifixion and the suffering of Christ, they take it to be something sacred. But think about people in Malayalam, usually we have this practice, even with this Satan, concept of Satan and all, what kind of a cross? Sometimes we mention like that. Is it with the same kind of due respect that we mention Kurishi in that way? Cross in that way, as you take it as a religious symbol? No. It is as you talk about some, again that also is possible. If you think in terms of the suffering of Christ on this cross, that can never be taken as something positive. That possibility also is there. So here you say that it's about not an index. Now no longer the sign is an index of a fixed underlying reality, but merely of other signs. Then the whole system becomes what he calls a simulacrum. So that the whole system of signs will become nothing but simulacrum. The stages, the evolutionary stages. And the fourth one is the order of simulation, where you have different, the last stage where you don't have the question of real at all. You are not bothered about reality, whether it is existing or not. You time being you use a sign, next moment you use it for some other purpose. The same time you use the sign for one positive thing, your friends use it for something very negative. So everything is possible now in the postmodern condition, where you don't have a fixed reality, or signs do not represent an underlying reality with that much depth or fixity. Okay. So that the whole system becomes what he calls a simulacrum. Simulacrum. The sign without having any sense of authenticity. Okay. There is no authenticity. You can use it for you. Still you can make use of a sign for representing something according to your convenience and according to the situational demands. But at any moment you have to expect that this sign can be something entirely different from what you have meant. Then he substitutes for representation the notion of simulation. And he uses this idea of simulation, where you have evolutionary stages, like the sign reaches its present stage of emptiness. See there, the sign has lost its complete significance, and you just see here this way. So the sign reaches its present stage of emptiness in a series of steps, which I will try to illustrate by comparing them to different kinds of paintings. Yeah, that's why I gave you my example already to make it more clear. I have already given you the 4 examples as such, with a difference in our representation through photos or images. So I will try to, that is Peter Barry's example. We can take it to be Peter Barry's example of explaining this simulation or simulacrum, the order of simulation. The 4 stages, evolutionary stages, he is trying to explain through this, through paintings. Okay. So how did we do that? The first order, the sacramental order, where you have true to life representation. Like you think about a person taking the Aadhaar card picture. It's very famous. That all without having any coloring, without having any additional effect or anything, you have the photo there. So that's a basic. It's true copy. It's about a true copy. Okay, and the second order is the order of malfeasance. That is the kind of images. Again, you are using your own image, but after using some filtering or something through app, you are making a better copy, better version of that, so that it's not another person. Still, the second order is not completely out of the authenticity, because it's your own image, but a far better version. So that again is an unfaithful copy. You see the photo every time, again you upload all those images in that way, and all of a sudden you make yourself visible, so that definitely most often there is no connection between this person and the images. So definitely it's not the true copy. Not like the first one, like when you talk about the Aadhaar card image. I should be talk like that. Again, without having any coloring, if you use the natural camera, you will get that kind of an image. Well, it's a true to life copy. We all complain about Aadhaar card image. But the reality is that it's the true to life, true copy without having any coloring that is needed, especially when it is used for your basic official purposes and all. So, second order is the order of malfeasance with you can think in terms of the filtered images through some apps and all. And the third order is the order of sorcery, where you have really unfaithful copy. Like I told you, like you are using the image of a film star to represent you for the time being, or film actor or actress. So people who are acquainted with you know for sure this is not this person, but time being that represents you, that's all. It doesn't mean that. So it's a really unfaithful copy. In the third stage itself, you start having the really unfaithful copy, because that is hiding a reality. The real person is not, there is no connection between the real person and the image of this image uploaded there to represent you. And we will come across Peter Barry's example with some health drinks and all. Think about the people who are talking on behalf of some hair oil and all. So they claim that this is with this kind of a knee-length hair just after using this particular hair oil, that particular hair oil. Or just think about Horlicks or Complan boy. I am a Complan boy. Grown long just because of drinking Complan. We don't know for sure this is true or false. So this is unfaithful representation. In the third stage itself, you start getting the unfaithful representation of such realities. But the fourth stage is the order of simulation. Please note down, this is the last stage of simulacra. You are getting simulacra in the postmodern time. So the fourth stage is the order of simulation. There is no question of real at all. You all accept that this is only what is available. That representation is of a cheating kind. Yeah, what they represent in that advertisement may not be having anything to do with the product, but still you buy that. That is the way postmodern condition has made us fit to live with that. Its reality is that of the laws of the real. So there is no question of real at all. You are not even bothered about the reality. That's why it's the stage of hyper reality. You say like it's the stage of hyper reality. Now we have to take the example from Peter Barry itself. Yeah. Firstly, then I will try to illustrate by comparing them to different kinds of paintings. Now we can see how Barry uses the paintings, the different kinds of paintings that are available nowadays to talk about these four orders. As I have already mentioned it with something that you are immediately connected, I hope it will be more clear when we take this textual example with like painting. Yeah. Firstly, the first order, as we told about Aadhaar card image, a true to life image, true to reality image. Here the sign represents a basic reality. The first order, without having any coloring, the sign represents a basic reality. Yeah, let's take an example of the representations of the industrial city of Salford in the work of the 20th century British artist L.S. Lowry. Mid-century life for working people in such a place was hard, and the paintings have an air of monotony and repetitiveness. Curved stick-like figures fill the streets, colors are muted, and the horizon filled with grim factory-like buildings. As the signs, then, Lowry's painting seem to represent the basic reality of the place they depict. What is read out there? Just leave the name of city that you do not know all those, but you can understand at least one thing. The painting is on the city, which is not that perfect for people to live. It's a kind of, it's not providing anything, something very positive. It's not providing anything positive. People are finding it hard to live there. Working class people with a monotonous life. So, when he portrays such a city, when he paints such a city, the artist draws it with grim colors like muted, and the horizon filled with grim factory-like buildings. He's not romanticizing the image, but the true-to-life picture of the city which he is painting. So that when a person who doesn't know, we don't know which is the Salford, which is, and again, what was its condition during 20th century, industrialized, during the peak of industrialization, how it looked like, how people lived there. So we have this access to that city, that situation of the city, condition of the city and the people there during that time period through his painting. And as it is true to life, because he doesn't bring any garish coloring, he doesn't draw very clean and neat riverside with a lot of scenic beauty, nothing. He portrays that city as it was during that time with the environmental problems of industrialization like smog, grim, cloudy areas, buildings of that kind. So when you take that picture, that is representing the basic reality of the city as such. Okay, so it's with grim factory-like buildings. He is not representing any buildings with like a bungalow-like buildings without having any blot or any, see, what is it? Sometimes we represent, even think about our taking some of the, even sometimes we try avoiding the backyard. We take the picture of our house. Backyard, you never take the picture of backyard and show that this is my house. Actually, to talk about your house, you have to take the 3D image or the 4-dimensional image. Only in that case you can get all the surrounding. But when you take the front part, front yard and all these garden and all, you get a different, you are hiding some part of it. But here when this particular first painting is not hiding any reality. It's representing it as such, to represent the basic reality of the place they depict. The second stage, just keep in mind the example of filtered image, like a image that you take using some app or you edit after using some filters. The second stage, second representation, we are going to explain in that way. The second stage for the sign is that it misrepresents or distorts the reality behind it. See that? It misrepresents. You can perfect image of yours, misrepresenting you. That's not the real you. That's not you do not look like that actually. In reality, you never look like that. So it misrepresents or distorts the reality behind it. Distorting. You are in one way or other distorting. That is, you present something, but that's not the real. It's not about hiding. There is no hiding as such, but you are presenting, but not in an acceptable or preferable way. If you talk if you prefer in terms of reality, true to life, true portrayal, if you prefer, the second stage doesn't allow that. So how does he represent that using the metaphor of painting? An example of this, let's take the glamorized representations of cities like Liverpool and Hull in the paintings of the Victorian artist Atkinson Grimshaw. Don't worry about these names and all. Main point, our main idea is about how this glamorized representation. As I told you, this second example, if you want, you can take the hidden part of the backyard of your house. When you represent it to be your house, you are not showing, you are distorting an image, you are giving a different picture. Or even, think about that. You didn't clean your house at all for months. Spider web, everything is making it very dirty, look very dirty. But you take the picture from a distance so that it's not visible. And after that you filter the image. You bring it you make the sharpen or contrast, all those adjustments you make so that minute things are not visible there. And when you take that image, you zoom the image and present that to be your house, your home, the building looks very glamorized. It's a glamorized representation. The same thing happens here with this the painting of Liverpool Hull, the representation in these paintings of Victorian artist. What does he do? This painting shows these cities at night, wet pavement, reflecting the bright lights of dark side shops, the moon emerging from behind clouds. Wow, what a beautiful imagery. And a forest of ships mast silhouetted against the sky. But what about that kind of a Victorian city where industrialization and its impact began to pop up? Life in these places at that time was presumably grim too. As same as the representation you saw at the first stage, life in these cities also, these cities is also or was also the same, like dull and grim and without having any clean and neat pavements. But in representation, the other painter, the second painter, another painter hides those realities and gives a glamorized representation, so that he is distorting the image, distorting the reality. You present the city, you claim that this is the city of Liverpool or city of Hull, but you are hiding a part of it, the second order. So the sign can be said to misrepresent what it shows. Just think about a person who is fond of traveling to visiting certain cities. After looking at this painting, opts to go to pay a visit to this place. And what he or she sees will be something very frustrating, because in the picture this is something. When they go there to meet there, it's something entirely different. Okay, so that is the second order. Even in that case, you can at least identify that this is that city. You can claim that, okay, anyway, some parts of the city is like this. That is not the guarantee. There is no guarantee that every other part looks like that. So you are hiding a part of this reality. Then the third stage for this sign is when the sign disguises the fact that there is no corresponding reality underneath. When the sign disguises the fact that there is no corresponding reality underneath. What is that? The third example that I gave you. Like you are using another person's face or some other animals or some flowers or scenic beauty, something to represent yourself as display picture. You use the image of an actor or actress. So the third stage where for the sign is when the sign disguises the fact that, hiding the fact that there is no corresponding reality underneath. Okay, I told you. We took the example of one of the classmates, one of my students. I took that image from your mail profile, where this person took she set the image of a little girl there. Mumtaz set the image of a little girl. We who know her know that this is not Mumtaz. But think about a person to whom she sends a mail from this particular mail ID. From this particular ID, she sends a mail. The person doesn't know her, but she or he sees this image and mistakes this for Mumtaz. Every chance is there, because it disguises the fact that there is no corresponding reality underneath. This image, this little girl's image, can never be Mumtaz. We know, because we know Mumtaz is the student belonging to 4th semester BA English in Jamia Hamdard Kannur campus. But the problem is, when Mumtaz sends this or makes use of the same ID to send this to an unfamiliar person, a person who doesn't know you, know her, will never understand that there is no corresponding reality underneath this image. So let us see how Barry gets the example through some of the painting. To illustrate this, take a device used in the work of the surrealist artist Rene Magritte. One person, single person, okay? So I forgot to highlight that Magritte, this particular part, sorry. Where in the painting, an easel with a painter's canvas on it is shown standing alongside a window. On the canvas in the painting is painted the exterior scene which we can see through the window, but what is shown beyond the window is not reality, against which the painting within the painting can be judged, but simply another sign, another depiction which has no more authority or reality than the painting within the painting, which is actually a representation of a representation. I am reminded of one of the scenes in Malayalam movie, very famous comic scene where Kudiravattam Pappu argues with the character enacted by Mohanlal and Shobana, or Mohanlal mainly. That kind of a sentence construction you can see here, but we will try to see what it is going to be. Okay, don't think in terms of all these sentences, but let me see. You just think about a painting where a painter is already, a person is painting, already a painting is there. He is painting a painting standing at the window side. Sorry, a person is painting. Inside the painting, you can see a person standing near the window. So you have in the picture, you have the person standing near the window. A window is there,